So why you ain't call me? I mean, what is the problem? You can call me right now. Pamela Marie Hump is an American woman who in 2016 took the life of Louis Humpenberger, a crime for which she is serving a life sentence for currently. Hump held several jobs in the life insurance industry. On 2 occasions, she was fired for forging signatures. Betsy was a friend with a terminal illness. Pam reportedly was the sole beneficiary of Betsy's life insurance. Elizabeth K. Meyer Ferreira, mother, wife, daughter, and friend, in 2010 was diagnosed with breast cancer, and in 2011 she learned that it was terminal. Betsy Ferreira changed her sole beneficiary of her $150,000 policy to Pam Hupp being the beneficiary. Did I mention that Pam and Betsy were once co-workers at State Farm? Hump, who originally said that Ferreira had asked her to give the money to her daughters when they were older, later said Ferreira had wanted her to keep the money for herself. Hump admitted that she had lied about what she intended to do with the life insurance. Prosecutors later speculated that Betsy's husband, Russ Ferreira, had been angered by her actions, giving him a motive. Pam Hupp was the last confirmed person to see Betsy before her demise. Ferreira had originally been scheduled to be driven home by a family friend until Hump drove to her mother's, insisting on giving her a ride. Pam claimed to have dropped off Betsy approximately 7 p.m. Russ remained the beneficiary on a separate $100,000 policy. 5 days later, on December 27, 2011, Betsy Ferreira underwent chemotherapy at the Alvin J. Siteman Cancer Center and then visited her mother. Afterwards, she insisted on going home. Russ Ferreira spent the evening at his friend Michael Corbin's house watching films until 9 p.m., then drove to an Arby's in Lake St. Louis before returning home. Finding his wife in her current state, he called 911 and expressed that he had thought she had taken her own life. Betsy Ferreira had been stabbed over 55 times. A police search of the house unearthed a blood-stained pair of slippers in his closet. When interviewed by the police, Hump claimed that Russ Ferreira had a violent temper and that he had threatened Betsy, who had been considering leaving him. On January 4th, 2012, the day after Betsy's funeral, Russ was charged with first-degree murder and armed criminal actions. Unable to make the $250,000 bail, he was held in the county jail until his trial began on November 18, 2013. Russ Ferreira's trial, his defense attorney, Joe Swartz, argued that the testimonies of the 4 friends he had visited and evidence of him making purchases from different stores over the course of the evening demonstrated that the timeline did not allow for him to commit the action. There was no traces of blood on his body or clothes. Prosecuting attorney Leah Askey countered that Russ' friends were providing a false alibi and had. On November 21st, 2013, Russ Ferreira was convicted on both counts. He was later sentenced to 30 years without the possibility of parole and sentenced to Jefferson City Correctional Center. This, without saying, put stress on the relationship with his two daughters. The retrial. The attorney Joel Schwartz appealed the conviction. In February 2015, the Missouri Court of Appeals sent the case back to the 45th Circuit Court for a hearing on a retrial. This happened after Chris McMyer recused herself from the case. The Leah Askey prosecutor allegedly had been in a relationship with the sheriff of Mike Lane and one of the witnesses. In other words, she was in bed with some of the key witnesses and investigating counterparts. In 2016, Joel Schwartz filed a bar complaint against Leah Askey. It was eventually dismissed by the Office of Chief Disciplinary Counsel. In July 2016, Russ Ferreira filed a civil rights lawsuit against Leah Askey and three deputies sheriffs based on the information they had fabricated evidence, ignored exonerating evidence, and failed to investigate the other obvious suspect. In June 2019, after Hupp entered a Alford guilty plea to the murder of Louis Humpenberger, which will be a case that we talk about later in this discussion, Lincoln County prosecuting attorney Mike Wood announced that he would be reopening the Betsy Ferreira homicide investigation. For those who don't know what an Alford plea is a guilty plea in which a defendant maintains their innocence but admits that the prosecution evidence would likely result in a guilty verdict if brought to trial. In October 2019, Wood requested a case review by the Major Case Squad of Greater St. Louis. In August 2020, new Lincoln County Sheriff Rick Harrell said that the Betsy Ferreira case had inspired him to run for the job. In February 2021, Wood stated that the COVID-19 pandemic has slowed the investigation, that he expected significant announcement in the summer or fall. On July 8th, 2021, Hupp was interviewed in connection with the murder of Betsy Ferreira for the first time. On July 12, 2021, Wood charged Pamela Hupp with the first degree murder of Betsy Ferreira and with armed criminal action. Shirley Mae Newman, Hump's mother, a widow since 2000, was by 2013 living alone in a third floor apartment in the Lakeview Park Independent Senior Living Community in Fenton, suffering from dementia and arthritis. She spent the night of October 29th that year with Hupp following a hospital visit. At approximately 5 p.m. on October 30th, 2013, Hupp dropped Newman off at her apartment, instructing the staff not to expect her down for dinner that evening or even breakfast the following day. An autopsy found that she had an enormous amount of sedatives in her blood, over 8 times the expected concentration for someone having taken a normal dose. A housekeeper found Miss Shirley Newman deceased underneath the balcony of her home at approximately 2:30 p.m. the next day. The aluminum balcony railing was broken. Following a police investigation, the assistant medical examiner concluded that she had died from blunt trauma to the chest resulting from an accidental fall. However, the next month, the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office received an anonymous note suggesting that Hupp, the last person known to have seen Newman alive, had maybe M-word her mother for her life insurance. Hupp and her siblings each received approximately $120,000 of investments held by Miss Newman, as well as sharing a $10,000 life insurance. Louis Royce Gumpenberger was a resident of Union, Missouri. Following a car crash in 2005, he suffered from several mental and physical impairments. Shortly after 2 p.m. on August 16, 2016, Lewis was fatally shot in the home of Pam Hupp 5 times. $900 was found on his body, along with a note bearing instructions to kidnap Hupp and get rush money from Hupp at her bank and kill Hupp, and to take Hupp back to the house and get rid of her, making it look like Russ's wife. Make sure knife stick out of neck, unquote, in turn for a reward of $10,000. As Hupp had placed 2 calls to 911 shortly before the shooting to report a burglary in progress. Immediately after the shooting, Hupp voluntarily went to the O'Fallon Police Department. Her first words on the recorded interview was, "Is this going to be filmed? Because I always appear on the news with Chris Hay." The St. Charles County prosecuting attorney and the O'Fallon chief of police theorized that Hupp had lured Gumpenberger to her home by presenting herself as Kathy, a producer for the television program Dateline NBC, and offering to pay him to rent at a 911 call, then shot him in order to implicate Russ Fiera in an attempt on her life and take heat off of her, planting the knife, the note, and the money on his body. On August 23rd, 2016, Hupp was arrested and charged with first-degree murder and armed criminal action. Upon being arrested, she asked to visit a bathroom where she attempted to off herself. On December 16, 2016, a grand jury indicted Hupp on the charges. Hupp appeared in court on January 31st, 2017, pleading not guilty. In March of 2017, prosecutors stated that they would seek the death penalty due to the apparent arbitrary choice of Gumpenbergers as the victim. Basically, because Gumpenberger was partially impaired and Miss Hupp still chose him as a victim, would actually consider her a heartless person. Mark Hupp filed for a divorce, describing their marriage as irretrievably broken. And based on the information that was given, the Ferreira family had a long road of forgiveness and apologies. The apology from the daughters would not come until 2021, after Hupp had been convicted. People like Pam are very dangerous. With the mental capacity of a 13-year-old and leading their life with self-centeredness and selfishness, will only keep you blinded with your own self-worth. In most cases, that would be good, but when you only think about yourself, you can always be led behind or led down the wrong path by the wrong person, mainly yourself. So have a great one, my loves, and keep this in mind. You can love yourself a little too much sometimes. Okay guys, just tell me what you think about this thing. I'm just going to hold off anything if I have an opinion or option that I want to share with you moving forward when I get all the investigative situations come back. But at this point, it feels like it was clear. Hi my loves, I just want to say thank you for subscribing, and I hope that you enjoy my topic for the moment. Thank you.